All right, we're gonna launch the Skydio. Flying in 3, 2, 1. There it goes. That'll start recording on its own. And then I'm going to say to this thing, I want you to follow behind me, right behind me, as closely as possible for this first little one. Of course, I'm riding the 2021 KTM 125XC today. It's windy today, very windy. Thing almost hit me. Now we're gonna try something different. We're gonna have it go, okay, fly right in front of me, but a little ways off.
As you can see here, there's too much wind and it has a hard time staying in front of me. It actually is really, really good at staying in front of you as long as you're not changing directions too fast, and then it just kind of crosses over in front of you because it's always reacting to what you're doing. But it never does get in front of me here because there was like 30-mile-an-hour wind. So I had a hard time flying the drone at certain points on this day because it just could not buck the wind. So it's lagging behind me. But it is amazing what this thing can do, and the shots that it can get shots that you cannot get any other way, because this thing will fly in ways and do things that a human pilot would just never be able to do. It's pretty cool. So I mentioned this in the podcast that I did talking about this bike that I've got, my first initial impressions on. I've now got 7.3 hours on the bike after this day and another day that we rode the bike. And it's really, really good. I wanted to mention that I'm going to be testing 3 different carburetors on this bike today as I'm riding. On this particular ride that you're watching right here, I've got the SC2, the Smart Carb 2 on the bike, and it's actually been running the best of all. I rode the bike a little bit with the McCuney carburetor, tried a couple different settings to lean it out and make it run, and it was doing okay. Not perfect. I wasn't like dialed in on it. And then I tried a 38 millimeter high velocity Electron carburetor. Got that one pretty close to where it was working pretty good, but I spent a bunch of time tuning it to get it there, like six or seven different tries on the metering rod length to try to get it to where I thought it was running pretty good. And then I tried the SE2 Smart Carb on it, and it actually is running the very best on a 36 millimeter SC2 carb, and that's what we're running right here. It's still a little fat because I was getting a little bit of oil oil running down my silencer on the back of the bike. It's okay to have a little, but I think I'm too much fuel getting into the bike right here. It's not bad, but it's just a little bit fat. I'm okay with that though too, because a little bit fat gives you a little bit more low end. And while I wasn't needing low end out here doing this, it is something to just consider. The other thing I want to mention is that, again, this drone is really cool. I've had it here for, this is actually my second Skydio, because I crashed the first one a couple times and my gimbal was starting to not work. And I ordered a second Skydio right off the bat. Once I saw how cool the thing was, I'm like, I'm going to lose it though. It's going to get lost. I'm going to crash it into a tree somewhere, someplace, or it's just going to run out of battery. It's going to disconnect from the beacon, run, and then I just won't be able to find it. So I bought a second Skydio too, and the thing works phenomenally well as long as you don't get in too tight of trees and if you don't have high wind. This is the first time I was trying to fly it in high wind, and it really struggled to try to keep up because it was pretty windy on this day. In a couple more days from this, we'll be in a little bit different area and the weather will be much better, and the thing just got some really cool shots on, not only on this bike, the 125XC, but also on the KX. The Kawasaki KX 250X, that 254 stroke. So super fun trip to get down there and just get out of the cold weather up here in northern Utah, get down to southern Utah where the weather was good. They need some rain down here because these trails were dusty and just powdery. There were sections where it was just like powder moon dust, like riding on the moon, which wasn't all that great. But anyway, had a good time on the bike, and we'll catch you guys in the next video here while this one plays out. Leave a single track. Thanks everybody.
I need to reset